I want to show you a few tips that will help you work faster when you're working on remote computers. So the first one is to use SCP. That stands for Secure Copy. And basically, it's a version of copy that just copies files over SSH. So say I'm on my local computer, and I want to copy my homework file that's on the remote computer. So I can copy SCP, and then put in my login information, so sbel03 at homework.edu. Then I put a colon, and then I'm going to specify a path to the file that I want to copy. So I have E200 and homework. So that's the source file that resides on the remote computer. And then I need to specify the local location where I'm going to put it. We'll just put it in this E200 homework directory that I've got. So just specify /.
Then I just put in my password. I get a short message about the file being copied. If it's a big file, you'll actually see a progress bar. It will show you progress as it downloads. And now we have the file in this directory.
The second thing to do to work faster with SSH is to stop typing your password every time you log in. So to do this, we're going to create an SSH key and then copy the public key to the remote server to authenticate ourselves. This is the same thing that we did to access GitHub, but now we're going to have to do both sides of it on the computers. So let's go ahead and run SSH Keygen to generate a new key. If you'd like, you could use the same one that you used for GitHub. I'm going to go into my SSH folder, and again, if you're on Mac or Linux, this should work just out of the box. If you're on Windows, maybe now is a good time to go ahead and download the Linux subsystem for Windows, or the Windows subsystem for Linux, sorry. And otherwise, you could use PuTTY and do it that way. You can configure PuTTY to use an SSH key as well, if you prefer that. So let's go ahead and create our SSH key. And we'll call this laptop. It's just going to identify my laptop with no passphrase. Okay, now we need to copy this public key over to the remote server. So we can do that with SCP. Now, so SCP laptop.pub. You want .pub to get the public key. The private key, again, you want to keep private on the local computer. And then homework.ecs.edu. And then finally we put a colon, again, to specify that this is the remote server. If you leave the colon off, it will just copy it into a local folder. Okay, and we don't need a path. We're just going to put it in the home folder of the remote computer. And now I'm going to have to put in my password. All right, so now I've copied the public key to the remote computer. And now we need to go log into the remote computer and put that public key in the correct place. So let's SSH into and we'll type in our password for the last time. Okay, so now if I look, I have this new file, laptop.pub, in my home directory on that computer. I need to add it to a new folder, or a new file called authorized keys. So the easiest way to do that, I can do cat laptop.pub. This just prints out the contents of the public key. And then if I use two arrows, that will redirect the contents of that to a file. So and I'll put that in .ssh authorized keys. If you've already got an authorized keys file, this will just add this contents to the end of it. Again, make sure you have two arrows instead of one, or otherwise you would completely overwrite the file. Okay, now I should be able to log out, and then I can try connecting again without using my password. It's magic. Okay, one last thing that would sometimes make it a little bit easier is rather than typing homework.eecs.tufts.edu, maybe I just want to say something like SSH Tufts, and that will log me in. So I can do this by adding information to the SSH config file. So, and I can add information, again, just like I did for GitHub, but again, this is on your local computer and not on the server. So we'll create a host called Tufts. Host name be homework.edu. The user is SPL03. And then we'll just go ahead and save that file. Now we can try it. And I'm logged in as me on the remote server with a whole lot less typing. So hopefully these 3 tips together help make your workflow just a little bit easier and a little bit more convenient.